Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday, day after first Saturday. Welcome to Love Morning. This is a meetup for Love Ambassadors. So glad you are here. Gonna speak to Love Burn situation in a moment, share some gratitude, connect with you, remind ourselves to be Love Ambassadors, all the good stuff. And as always, I start with the song I make up right here. If you're far away, grab your stuff and get near. Tell me all the things in your heart that make you feel good. And if it's enough, then help it lift your mood. Because our gratitude and our attitude is gonna help this dude. Oh man. Have I mentioned that I haven't had any coffee today? That should have went. I should have started with that. Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. I'm John Halcyon, and I am grateful for a beautiful First Saturdays yesterday. First Saturdays is the homeless outreach that I've been doing for 14 years, once a month. Yesterday, we had over 100 volunteers, which is a mixed bag, because on one hand, it's so awesome to have 100 people that want to help. On the other hand, what do I do with 100 volunteers? I mean, we probably had 100 people, homeless and people in need that we were servicing. It was close to a 1-to-1. So it can be a little stressful for me to try to give people enough work. But this was the first gathering once school got back in session. And so there's all these local colleges that have service organizations. AMSA is one. The Flying Sams is another. These great groups. And some new ones asked, could join you? And I'm like, well, sure. I mean, school's starting up. I don't know how many volunteers we're going to have. Because last month we had probably 20 volunteers. The difference between 20 and 100 is significant. So it was awesome. It was great. And I felt good. Like I had to work hard to make people feel, I think, included and relaxed. And with so many new people, there was a lot of people that didn't know who I was and didn't know like the vibe of the event, and they were nervous, so I was making jokes and people were not laughing. I had to really lean into like, okay, repetition. They're gonna get to know you. They're gonna get this, and by the end of it, I think people were relaxed because the whole point is it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be. You're supposed to learn like, oh man, giving is awesome. And so over the course of the gathering, once you've given something to somebody and they're like stoked, it only takes one or two of those moments before it feels good. And so after a while, me being silly enough and make people relax enough to realize you can have fun, you can talk, you can joke with people, smile. That's why we're here. Rather than like, do you want a water? It's like, no, it's way more fun. It's way better for both people if you're like, hey, thirsty? So anyway, it was great. Look who's here. So many good people. Welcome, Dimitri. Good morning. Hello, Razorblade. Good morning, Kiri and Gerbot and Paul. And wow, I think my comments are I think there's a huge delay. But good morning, Jennifer and everyone. Let's see. Kiri is so bored at work this morning. But I'm grateful because I still have a job, and it was insane yesterday. The boredom is welcome after that. Ah, yes. Yin-yang, conflict, and release. Tension, and light and dark, smooth and rough. It is this that makes life so beautiful. Gerbot says, I didn't make it to Dead Mouse. Spent time with my friend for his birthday instead, but I did make it out to the Anjuna Beats party. I didn't know those were multiple things. You have a packed life. I'm glad you got out and glad you had friend time. Awesome. Oh, Razorblade is grateful to be getting kitty snuggles in bed. Meow. Nice. Good morning, Paul. Paul said, good song, which I appreciate the effort to not kick me when I'm down. Not my best song. Says, that's a good thing to have an abundance of help. Grateful for you and for a beautiful fall in the mountains and rock climbing with my daughter. Yay. Thank you for sharing. Totally awesome to have an abundance of help. I mean, it's all these, the vast majority are young people. And it's really cool that there's all these folks who are willing to spend the sunny Saturday and they spend their day doing good. It's great. Gerbot says, I remember when I used to work retail, the slow, boring days were the worst. Right. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Doug. Good morning, good morning. Well, I am grateful to have so many friendly faces. Well, faces. Basically, what do you call them? Screenshot faces, your avatars of your, when I see your comment, it shows me like your profile picture. So that's what I mean when I say faces. So I wanted to talk a little bit, what's on my mind. A lot of people have been asking about Love Burn. So if you're not familiar with the Burning Man regionals, there's the Burning Man main event, and then there's regionals, which are the local events, and they range from a few hundred people or less to 20,000 people, and they have to follow the 10 principles. There's a bunch of rules that they have to follow, and they're amazing. For years, I didn't go to any of them because I thought that regionals were like minor league, like. You go to regionals until you get the courage to go to the big one or something like that. I don't know. And then I went to a few and I was like, oh my God, these are awesome. These are like, people go all out. And there are some people who all they'll ever do is their local regional. Like when I went to Blazing Swan in Western Australia, most of those people are never going to go to Burning Man in Reno. In Nevada. So they are hardcore and they're into it, and it's got a totally different flavor, based on the kind of the tendencies and personalities of the culture. And I love going to regionals now, and one that I've recommended for years is Miami, or Love Burn is called, and one of the reasons why I recommend it is because it's so easy. You can take it's warm, so you don't need tons of clothing. You can Uber from the airport. So I've flown in, gotten a taxi to take me to like a grocery store on the way. I flew with a cooler and had my sleeping bag in my cooler. Anyway, it's super fun. I've had beautiful experiences there. It is it's the easiest regional that I know of because you can go right in, and you also you can go in and out, and people have food delivered to it. There's like Uber will deliver food there. So it's radical self-reliance, but there's really no risk. There's no fear. Like if you're like, I'm scared, it's the least scary regional. And so there was an announcement this week, or a post that had been by Stephen Raspa, who is the regional, I don't know his official name, but he's in charge he's a liaison between all the regionals. Now, Stephen Raspa is fucking awesome. He is he is I just said fuck because I meant to record this, but whatever. He's awesome. He is such a beautiful burner. He is an artist through and through. He is so dedicated to burner culture. He spends so much of his time, energy, and his love defending and helping people to get to you know to make it work. This is the very chaotic system and different types of people and all sorts of stuff, and dealing with conflicts between like countries that have conflicts, and then burners trying to deal with those frustrations. That's so much. So I love and respect him. So there's a post that has been forwarded around where he was saying, "Hey, look, Love Burn, you guys, there's a few things that we've been asking you about. You got to deal with these things, and if you've been on probationary status, if you don't deal with these things, you're gonna continue. We're gonna either put you on probation, or you might even. I think that's what it is. This year you're gonna be put on probation again. It might have been even that you're gonna lose your official status, which means you can't say you're Burning Man Regional. You would be an event. You would be an event that is following the 10 principles, but you won't be recognized as an official regional. You can't use Burning Man trademarks. And apparently, Love Burn used to be an event that was not recognized, and then became an official one. And this note was saying, "Look, you're gonna lose our trademark. You're gonna go back to being just an event, but not an official regional." I should say I'm not an expert in this. I've been having a lot of people contact me about it because they're very upset and they're frustrated because this message came out right when Love Burn tickets went on sale, and there's this kind of feeling like a lot of frustration. And I was contacted by several people saying, "Will you speak out on this? We know you love Burn. Will you use your platform and speak to this?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, maybe we could do a public conversation, which may still happen." But I was like, as I'm starting to go down this process of, and I'm feeling like, man, this does kind of suck, because the people who contacted me weren't the organizers of Love Burn. There were people, participants and artists and people, and they were saying, as people who have dedicated so much energy, and they're like, it sucks to feel like disapproved of by the org, which I absolutely know that feeling of putting tons of energy as a volunteer and then feel like you get spanked or you're unappreciated. I'm like, man, that does suck. And I started getting kind of pulling into this tide of like, what the fuck, Burning Man organization? Let them do what they want, And then I'm like, you know what? I should reach out to Raspa, because everything I've ever experienced from him is he's awesome. And so I wrote him last night, and he wrote me back. He said, "Can I give you some context?" And he's like, "I've tried so hard to work with them for years. I've been saying, look, these are the 3 things we need to talk to you about. Like, just return my calls." He's like, I really felt for the guy. He's like, "I've asked this, I've asked this, I've asked this, I've asked this." I said, all we really need is to talk together so that we can say that you've got a plan to get towards this solution. Really, I think the big thing is, and I'm not an expert in contract or legal things, but there's a regional cannot be owned by an individual or like a company. It's got to be owned by like a board, or ideally be a nonprofit, because there's been bad experiences where it's really hard to keep it from being a for-profit thing if it's owned by someone. Like it's an entity owned by an individual or a couple or a business. And I guess that's the situation. And they've said, yeah, that's one of the rules. You can't do that. So we need to. You got to fix that. You got to fix that. Hey. Next year, you got to fix that. Hey guys, you got to fix that. And hey, we got to get a plan in place of how you're going to transition. And they have never, they won't work with him. And apparently, Raspa saying, I get more messages angry about Love Burn and the the ins and outs and the Uber deliveries and the structure, then I get the people saying defending Loveburn, and he's in this really bad situation. So I guess that is just to say that there's all these people who love the 10 Principles, love Burning Man, and before you get on any train of momentum of frustration or anger towards anyone or any organization, spend a little bit of time trying to pause and go, let me see if I can get the context. I'm now of the mind that the people who are in charge of Loveburn, it's the onus is on them. And perhaps they even want to get their title revoked. Maybe they don't want to be regional because they've built up a huge event. If they lose their status as a regional, then they can be a for-profit event, and it might be a very lucrative way for them to make a living. I don't know, but I would urge if anyone who's frustrated about Stephen Raspa's message, or I would tell them to put pressure on having the organizers of Loveburn have a meeting with Stephen Raspa. All right. Sorry that I went into that too much, but if you're here, what are you grateful for? Or if you've got thoughts on that, or you want to argue with me on that. Actually, no, not if you want to argue with me, but if you could say like, hey, I'm of the understanding of something different than what you just said. I would love to hear that. Gerbot says Raspa is the guy with the sweet beard. Yeah, he has his beard. It's like it's art. I don't know. I can't describe it. Let's see. Doug is excited for. You're going to Loveburn. It's going to be your 13th burn, your burn mitzvah. Awesome. Have you been to Loveburn before? Loveburn is, I mean, I've had. The thing that Loveburn does really well is they give a lot of money in art grants to theme camps, to not just art, but like any camps that are bringing infrastructure. They give them tickets to sell. So a huge percent, I mean, a larger percentage of their operating budget than I think any other regional, but definitely more than Burning Man. A way larger percentage of their operating budget is distributed to the community through as art grants. That's my understanding. Oh, awesome, Doug. Good morning, Esther. Hope says, I'm grateful that a friend encouraged me to attend a small conference yesterday. Introverts need a little coercion sometimes. Totally. That's a tough thing. You know, I find sometimes I struggle with, if I say, hey, you want to do this? When is a no actually an opportunity to say, are you sure? I think you'd love it. Or when do you say, they said no, I don't want to put any pressure on them. I struggle with that. Anyone else have some gratitude to share? Good morning, George, if you're still here. Doug's got Loveburn, Nowhere, and Gerlach on the map. Where's Nowhere? Is that in Europe? I can't remember now which one that is. Ooh, and Doug wants to be in the Temple Burn at the Big Burn, a Temple build. Awesome. Hey, George. Jennifer says, have you heard of the Fire Festival? The Fire Festival redo $1 million ticket. I have not heard of that. I do know that the guy who was convicted of fraud is still, like he's in owes the courts and something, a huge amount of money. So it almost sounds like it would be a joke, like, but I don't know. I've not heard. Oh, Barcelona. That's right. Yes, yes, yes. That's where nowhere is. Ooh, I've heard good things. Joyous, good morning. Great. Joyous is grateful for a feeling of spring cleaning this morning. Grateful to be getting organized a bit in a new home. Ah, nice. Intentionally creating cozy for the coming first winter. All right, Jennifer. Well, I'll have to look up more about Fire Festival. Hope saying it wasn't pressure, it was an offer and a nudge. I always say I will consider it for 30 and get back to them. I guess I'm doing the coercion. Nice. Any last gratitude for today? I am grateful for a pretty open day. I am grateful for beginning the process of looking for a new place to live. Lisa and I looked at a home for rent yesterday that was really wonderful. Not perfect, so we're still looking, but I'm grateful that we're undergoing that journey. It's a stressful one for me, very stressful. So I'm grateful that I have the opportunity. Grateful. I love my problems. That is my mantra this month. I love my problems. Oh, so grateful for First Saturdays. That was really a special. It's one of those. It's once a month, and it really impacts my entire month. It impacts my well of service. I know, that a part of who I am is being a facilitator of this thing. I use the word thing a lot. I must be tired, but yeah. So I'm really grateful that I had that, and I'm gonna try to just keep squeezing some of that solid contentment sense from that. Etza says, I love that. I love my problems. I think I understand that very well. Right? I mean, the way I used to hear it was, I used to say a lot like, hey, if everyone threw their problems out into the street, I would pick mine back up. And most people would pick up their problems. But lately I've been just like looking and seeing how there's so many ways to struggle, so many ways to suffer, so many health problems that everyone right now, there's people going through so much stuff. And so whenever I get kind of caught up in like a whiny, I don't like this, it's like, wait a minute, we all got problems. All things considered, I fucking love my problems. I would choose my problems over 99.999 over everyone. I would choose. So what am I complaining about? You gotta have problems. I love mine. Good morning, Painty. Jennifer is grateful for going to Dragon Lights tonight with friends and family. Cool. Well, I am so grateful that I get to spend a little bit of this Sunday morning with you. Good morning, Victoria. And I hope everyone has a beautiful day as you head off. And I hope that you remember that you are a love ambassador. And you don't have to go to First Saturdays to be an ambassador of love. You can be kind and smile and be patient and forgiving and friendly to yourself and to anybody you might cross paths with today. Wherever you are, I encourage you to give yourself a big old squeeze. Know that we are all joined in this hug, this recognition of our oneness, feeling appreciative of our bodies, appreciative of our problems. What a gift to to worry about whatever the thing is. Know that it is a part of it is our adventure. Our adventure involves, I got ants in the kitchen right now. I'm so grateful that I have a kitchen. I'm so grateful that I have access to ways to get rid of ants. I'm so grateful that ants don't sting and bite. I'm so grateful I don't have wolves in my kitchen. I'm so grateful for my problems. And I'm so grateful for this chance to sit in community with you in this moment. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and everyone here, thanks for being here today for our Love Ambassador meetup this Love Morning with Hug Nation. Love you. Have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone. Oh, I'm grateful I can hear the birds chirping outside. I wonder if a nest just hatched, because I heard them last night. Good morning, Clado.